Hey, what's up? This is Defense Mech. I'm gonna do a little video here. It's gonna be a save file walkthrough for the song Near Miss from my EP Sunburst. Um, right now I'm running LSDJ version 901 because it's the most recent version that's still compatible with this save file. I think I wrote it originally around version 682, something like that. That was like the stable version at the time that I wrote it. This version I like because it's got a lot of new features and stuff. I would suggest either running it in like version 682, version 702, or version 901. There's some funny stuff that happens in the wave channel with version 851, which is like the most recent stable version. If you're watching this video, we're hoping for a new stable version 9 this summer, but I haven't updated it to the newest one because the noise channel has changed around a bunch, and I just haven't taken the time to go through and update it all, so that's why I'm using this version. You can download the save file for yourself on my website, defensemech.com/songs, and all of the save files are there for you to download and check it out. This one I don't think uses any special custom samples or anything like that, so you should be able to load it into a stock LSDJ ROM, and it should play the song, as expected, basically. So I want to get started first. Maybe I'll start with the save file, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about the songwriting and some stuff behind it. So, but that's kind of getting down here. So maybe I'll start with the very first kind of intro to the song and explain a little bit. I actually haven't looked at this save file basically since I wrote it. I guess I looked at it maybe a couple of years ago, but I don't really revisit these save files very often because I mean, the song is done, so I don't really have a reason to go back and reinvestigate it. So I'd probably be kind of changing some things up. I might have found a few different ways of doing the same techniques, and thought that might be interesting to cover while we're talking about this. So the very intro to this song starts with this, what I wanted to be kind of like a swing band horn section, like a muted like trombone section or trumpet section, kind of like the wah wah wah, like the old school jazz, like and just kind of like almost like when something happens that, like, I don't know, it's like a fail, or it's just something goes wrong, and you're like wah wah wah, kind of like that old trombone, muted trombone or trumpet sound. So I feel like I achieved that pretty well. Let's take a look at the wave channel first, and I think this phrase is the same across all channels. I have this initial phrase AF that just kind of sets the groove, the tempo, and the full volume. I don't know if I used M commands later. I guess we'll have to find out. So when you first play the song, it just sets the default groove, the tempo, because oh yeah, I guess I lowered the volume here. This might have been before we had limiting in the wave channel, so I might have been trying to tame the volume of the wave channel without using E commands, because you have more control. You have 7 volumes, or I guess 8 volumes with the M command, and you only have basically 3 volumes with the E command. And this was a trick, I think I learned it from Flo Main. It was like, if your wave channel is too loud, use the M command to turn everything down and then boost the pulses or whatever. So this sound was something that took me a while, and I just kind of experimented to see. Let's name the instruments as we go along so we can kind of keep track of them. This is something, oops, not horns. Okay. And then we've got synth 3 here, so we can take a look at this, and we've got a pulse signal which I have a feeling why I use this. It's probably because I wanted to match the other pulse channels. And then we've just got these kind of like a low volume, and then it kind of comes up in volume, and at the same time you can see with the phase, it's kind of shrinking. Like it kind of starts off at a wider duty cycle or a wider pulse width, and then it kind of shrinks in. Part of that is because when you and it also increases in volume, and so like when you have a smaller section of the wave, even though this is at F and this is at 0, it's like there's less of the wave that's actually being loud. So I wanted to kind of emulate, like, even though we have this soft, it actually, even though it's growing here, it's still kind of getting quieter because the actual size of the wave is smaller. So yeah, I felt like I pretty much kind of succeeded here. I mean, one of the actual like kind of physical attributes of a mute is to act as a low pass filter. So that's why I have it on this low pass filter setting. And so we're kind of like starting at a very low cutoff and then increasing the cutoff here, and at the same time kind of shrinking the wave by increasing the phase. And then I had added a little more Q. I don't know that it makes much of a difference here other than just kind of makes it louder, which we're also increasing the volume. So we've got kind of two aims about it. So that's this wave channel sound. And then, of course, vibrato, a little bit of vibrato. And I'm changing the speed of it here, too. So our speed would be 3 and the length would be 4. Whereas here, our speed is 2 and our length is 3. So just drawing it out. Just drawing it out to get a little more of a, and then we've got like a bend. And then I'm changing the tempo and making it a little slower. So that's kind of that sound. And then how did I achieve that in the pulses? Was that I used, again, we have some more vibrato. We've got some E commands to control the volume. We've got this ADSR, or if you're using the envelope version, it would have started at volume 2. This would have been like 2, I don't know, 2B or 2C probably to go all the way up to F. And then we're starting it on this 12.5% duty cycle, and then we're running this table to change it. Oh, really? Are we? Is this right? Do I need to reload the song? I don't know if this is right, but maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is. So, oh yeah, I think I was messing around with this earlier. I think this is actually supposed to be set here. But the way that I think about these is to do something like that wah-wah sound is basically like, let's see if we can hear it if I make a new pulse instrument. I tend to think of each one of these duty cycles as like having its own volume sound. So this I kind of think of as like oh, like oh. And this I kind of think of as like an or like eh. And then this one is kind of like an ah or ah. So by changing these around, you can kind of go from like oh, ah, like wah, So that was kind of the idea behind this, like, you can kind of hear that, like, it kind of works. If I wanted this, I think I have this set here in the default save, but either way, this is kind of an interesting place to play around, because I think that it I can slow down the table and make this even more dramatic, to make this even more of a dramatic, like you can really hear that. But does it sound as horn-like? Like, that's really the question. And so, like, I don't know. So I have one instrument there and then another instrument here, which I guess I'm not exactly sure what the difference is here, but they might have just been starting on different duty cycles, but they look like they're the same volume. Does this one have a tuning or something? I'm not really sure. Oh, it's just a different speed on the envelope, on the volume, so. and then just like straight into it. So like that was a fun contrast. It had this like slow, like old kind of jazz horn line, like we've just failed at something, and then straight into this kind of like I'm not sure really what to call this. I don't ever really write with a specific like genre in mind, but well, we can kind of take a look at this. I don't remember writing this intro. So then I'm resetting to the default groove. I'm setting this tempo, which is 200, which is like a pretty fast tempo, especially in LSDJ. I mean, I don't know. I tend to write in the 100s. So this could have easily been written at 104, but like it didn't feel right to write it at 104. It felt right to do it at 200 because it felt like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You know, like that's where the quarter note is. So here we've got arps. Looks like I'm using a table. Oh, this is fun. See, I can tell already. I'm sure that I would have used a C command and changed the command rate, but I wrote this in a version of LSDJ that didn't have control over the C speed. So I'm using groove 2, which I always keep my grooves numbered the same as what the actual number is. And then that way that'll control the speed of the table. But I'm also doing some duty cycle modulation here. So this would be basically an inverted major triad. And then this, so let's call this ARP1. ARP1, okay. And then this is a tonal part of the snare. So let's call this pulse snare. And this is just done, even though I'm doing it in the pulse channel, I'm not using the sweep. I have a length setting, and I'm setting it to drum pitch, and I'm using a P command here, which is pretty interesting to me. But I'm also doing this kind of inverse panning. Here's an interesting thing. I was using this H technique. A lot of people do this, and it's fine. But one thing I didn't learn until later is that you can use A20, because all it's doing is it's just hopping to this row where nothing is happening. But you can do this A20, which basically says like run a table, but table 20 doesn't exist. So it will just stop the existing table. And instead of like running the instruction to hop to this line every time, it just stops. So in theory, it can save CPU. Does it really matter that much? Probably not, but that's a thing. That's a technique that I've started to change. And then I don't know why I have this groove command here either, because I think groove 0 and groove 6 are the same. So that's kind of redundant. So I probably don't need it there, but I'll go ahead and leave it there. Here's another ARP table probably. So this is like a sus2. That's about it for that phrase. What else? So lots of ARP tables, which I could have saved all these. If I was writing in a new version, I could just have this be the table for the same instrument and then just use a C command. This would be like C38, set the command rate to 1. So many tables. Now I'm starting to harmonize with the lead. So let's check out the lead channel. So this is what seems like probably a pretty straightforward, no tables, just a fairly loud pulse, square wave. And I'm doing a lot of duty cycle modulation in the phrase itself. And what's also interesting to me too is, aside from this stuff where I'm using these bends to modulate the pitch on every line, realistically I could probably have put this on groove C or something, and because you see like every other line of this is not even used, so I could put this on like groove C and put this here, like move this up a line and move this up 2 lines and stuff like that. But I guess I didn't really end up needing it, but that would be a way to like save phrases, and then you can fit 2 bars in one phrase, that can be a helpful thing when you're writing at faster tempos, if you're prone to using, because this uses up so many phrases. But you know, some of them, like this is just an octave up, so, and I'm like repeating a couple of these throughout anyway. So let's take a look at the wave channel. So this is a kick. Do I have this labeled? No. I can tell. Okay, so this is a trick that I was doing for a while, where I would leave a volume low on the wave channel and then kind of do this E command, and then just to kind of shape the beginning, to get rid of the very beginning transient of the kick. You can hear, let's hear what happens when I change this to a 3. It doesn't sound that much different now because the more recent versions of LSDJ actually process everything that happens in the wave channel like first, so there's not as much of a delay when doing this. But and then so I have this kind of sort of fastish P command followed by transposing down with these L commands, which is just basically shaping the pitch slope of the kick. And then let's check out. So I'm starting. This is a manual wave. It starts on wave 0, which is here, pretty aggressive, and then it gets sent to frame E. So I'm sure what I did was I just made this a lower volume, and then I knew that I wanted this to hit aggressively at the very beginning on the first tick of the kick, and then after that to get quieter, but I probably didn't know exactly how quiet. And then I was able to just use this F command to kind of tune it. And like you can hear it get quieter as you go. So that's kind of a cool way. I guess I ended up just making it my foe. And then, yeah, so I don't know that this would be any different. I could probably just put this at a volume 3 and then take out this E command, and it probably wouldn't make that much difference. And I kind of like now having a little bit of just that aggression at the beginning of the kick anyway, so it probably wouldn't make that much difference. Let's see. So this is, we'll just call this bass 1. And we're on wave 10. But we're also kind of modulating back and forth. And then here's another Ho command, which we can make an A20. Not that I think it ever gets this far. We've got a little bit of a fifth up transpose on the first tick, but you got to remember, like, the first tick at, one tick at tempo 200 is extremely short. It's half as long as a tick at 104, obviously. So you can really have a higher resolution of sound shaping here. So I'm basically kind of rewinding 2 frames, which this is like really interesting to me. So let's go up to wave 10. So it's like it's starting here, and then it's kicking over to wave 10. Let's see, go up. See, 1, 2, 3. Oh, going over to here, which should be, and then 3 more. So, and then there's this little, which is just, H6. Oh, it's advancing my wave. This is kind of fancy. I don't remember exactly, I don't remember exactly why I wrote this. I just wanted something high pitched to happen here. So I guess that's what I landed on. I thought, okay, let's put a table on here. And then, yeah, we've got just... I really like that a lot with this kind of like... Let's take a look at the act. So let's take a look at these synth parameters. We've got this sawtooth signal, which has the most harmonics. We've got a resync happening. So resync, it's almost like, I don't really know how to describe it. It just makes the pitch higher and higher as you increase the phase value. So you've got your kind of root here, and then like as the waves kind of squish in further, it gets like higher and higher pitched until it has like this super high pitched frame at the end there. We're limiting it a little bit just to kind of tame it, and then actually see it's relatively high volume, and then but I'm emphasizing only kind of the lower harmonics, but that's probably because I have this resync phase, which kind of gives it this real kind of crunchy, like you can hear as this goes, you know, like if I also, let's set this to like play through just so that we can hear what it sounds like. So yeah, so this kind of gives us like, yeah, super crunchy bass. And then, yeah, this is just a fun little kit fill, 909 kit fill. What's not to like about that? And like, I think everything drops out here. Oh, there's some noise stuff. Oh, okay, let's talk about the noise channel, because we didn't have a noise channel until now. Look at this. This is like channel economy. I only used 3 phrases in the whole thing, but so this is kind of my standard method of doing, or I guess I should say was my standard method of doing crashes, because in the old versions, and a lot of people still use like the version 4 or version 7, and all you had over here was just like a note. It was really only an octave that you could use over here. You could set the default shape in the instrument, and then you'd have to use S commands if you wanted anything other than just going up or down by octaves. So what I'm kind of doing is just, this is like a jump down 2 octaves in the crash, and then jump down another octave, and then jump down another octave. So like you could do the same thing if you went E, blah, blah, and take these out. And this is something that would actually, I don't even think I need this, because does this have a table on it? No. So yeah, that also could be a way to optimize this. And this would, if I were to upgrade it, I would want to do this because the notes convert to the newer versions to like 9.1 and higher. So I will probably end up keeping this like this. And then the snare. This is like, yeah. This is kind of my standard. I think of it as the def snare. It used to be, so again, like going down by the first digit would be like down, this is down 3 octaves, down 2 octaves, down 1 octave per tick. So we have like this kind of low sound, and then it goes, and then it like wavers. It's like an octave up, and then an octave down, and then an octave up, and then stays down. And then I'm shaping it with these envelopes here because we didn't have this envelope control, which is something that I would probably use now. Like started at a higher, I guess it starts at 8, and then kind of do like shape the sound here. But I couldn't do that because I was writing in an older version. So, and then this H command like literally does nothing basically, because it's going to kill the note here before it even comes back to this, so I can take this out. So, and then I didn't call this anything, so let's call this snare. I'm naming all my instruments. So I didn't do that in the save file. This would be, so this, I don't know what to call this one, because we'll just call it crash for now. I don't know if I may have used it somewhere else, but it's crashed now, so. And then this is kind of cool. I've got this little, like, here I used an A20 command. So I've got, like, this transpose. It's kind of like an octave down, maybe 2 octaves down. So this goes down a couple octaves, and then it shapes up 1, which I'm not really sure why I would do that, because I could easily just do this and then make these go away, and then just set this snare back. Oh, you know why? Because there was no way to do that in that version. That's going to answer all my questions to why I did things a certain way. It's like, well, you couldn't do that in that version. So, and then, yeah, I really like this, like, shape that it gives to the hi-hat sound. And, like, it just gives that little extra, like, or, like, yeah, like, kind of like that, like, yeah. And that's all the same through this whole phrase. Oh, yeah, is everything... Huh, okay, something's out of sync somewhere. Oh, I must have, like, played something on a different groove. Yeah, so that's it for that. So now we can move on to this. This is a crazy. So okay, so let's play this part. So, I called this, like, accidental ska or something, because it kind of, like, to me evokes, like, it's got the upstrokes, it's got the, like, what sounds like horns almost. Like, I feel like that was probably a conscious choice on my part, was, like, picking stuff that sounds like horns. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, all right, let's go back. So, we've got this tonal pulse snare thing happening on the... And this, this is funny. Just want, in the early versions of the song, the melody was just this. But I wanted ba 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 ba, so I had to sneak in this. Just this little, like, this is just playing, I don't know, what should we call this? Fake pulse. Or we'll call it fake PU. Fake poo. Fake poo. So it's like, it's just doing the pulse wave over here because I needed another pulse wave and I didn't have one. It's just a square, but yeah. That's like, I was hanging out with the mixing engineer when we were going through this, and I was like, you're going to hate me because it's like the kick and the bass and then this little, like, you can't just mix this channel as only bass because there's this little blips in it. Let's call this bass 2. Bass 2. So this is like a sine bass or triangle or something like that. That's what it looks like. Yeah. I think this is a triangle bass. Not quite, NES, but almost. Just like something that has very minimal harmonic content so that we can really like pare it down for this part, and then we have something to build up when we go here. Like to get the crunch. So it's just like a little tamer. If I was really slick, I would probably make a different kick that was only, the last half of the tail of the kick. But why not? I mean, who cares? It's oh, here's this like crash thing again. And then yeah, a little plink here. What do we call this? Plink. I think because I think this song is an F. So you've got like, I can do like C and F, like the notes. Kind of. They're kind of in tune. And then, yeah, so like, let's take a look at the lead sounds here. It's pretty simple. It's just a pulse with the octave chord command, ARP command. And then some duty cycle modulation here. Whew! It sounds bad when it's out of tune. So let's call this lead 1. And then down here, lead 2. I could be more creative with my names, but I'm not going to. Did I already call it anything like lead? Oh, I did. Yeah, no, I didn't. Lead 1, lead 2, crash, snare. ARP 1, horns. Oh, okay. I'm using a different ARP command here because this one, it's like root, octave. That's like on each tick. Root, octave, root, octave. And then on this one, it alternates root, octave, root. So you get like more octaves up. Okay, and then the real crazy thing over here is this. Which is just nuts. So I'm hopping here to do the ARPs. Earlier in the ARPs, I was doing this, just these tables, like, and I think what happened was I started to get concerned that I was going to run out of tables, and I'm using quite a few tables here, 16, 17, 18, and I didn't even end up using all of them. And for the amount of chords that I've used in this song, I probably didn't need to do this. But it was also, at the time, kind of an experiment. So this was like, I wanted this to happen on the offbeats. Every line is 6 ticks. So then I had to do this groove math. All of my grooves are named, they're just the numbers that are, the number of the groove is the number of ticks contained in that groove. At least up until like here. Oh yeah, and then these start to get into custom groove territory. Which, this is just wicked. So we have, basically, I want these to happen every 3 ticks. So then I have to work backwards to determine that I need 9 ticks in order for these 2 lines to add up to 12 ticks, because normally this would be 6 and this would be 6. So, and then I want to hop 6 times here. So it plays through once, hops 6 more times. Then after the 7th time, then we have 3 ticks here, 6 ticks here, 3 ticks here. So we've got a total of 12 more ticks, and then the last ARP, which is just the same. And then we hop to the next phrase. So this is like, I think I probably just used this throughout the whole. So I want these to happen like on all the offbeats. But it's kind of cool because like, it means that, I can write whatever notes I want here. I can throw in commands and have them be different every time, even though for most of these they're the same both times. For some reason here I don't have a W command. I might have just been something I forgot. These 2 are different, and it might have just depended on the sound or something like that. Because what is this? This should be probably ARPS 2. ARPS 2. So here's this instrument setting, and then is there anything happening here? It's just a duty cycle modulation from here to here, and then kill the note after 4 ticks, which we could put this here. Which I guess maybe I just wanted to kill it after this, because each of these would only last for three 3 ticks anyway. And then, of course, I wanted to hop these sooner. And these phrases don't line up. So there's actually 2 bars happening in each one of these, I guess. Except for this one. This is 1 bar, and then this is 1 bar. I don't know if that's supposed to sound like that. Brought in a different bass for this transition into this. So then, like, this is basically just the same thing except ramped up with a different drum beat and a more intense bass, I guess. I don't think this is any... Oh, it is different. Is it? Oh, I didn't name this one. Hi-hat. Just call it hi-hat. Same snare. Same crash. Except for these, I'm like shaping these open hi-hats a little more with an envelope and an S command. Okay, so this is just my regular bass. 1. I'm just like have these manual F commands. The good thing about this version that I'm using is that the F command is like on the beat. For a while, it was like the silky wave. It was waiting for the end of the waveform, but like at low notes like this, it would just like introduce this delay, and then it would sound way off for when you had these F commands. So I requested that it be changed back to the old behavior, like it was in version 4 and like version 7. So this sounds how it's supposed to, which is like rhythmic F changes. Some E commands to kind of like, I guess, shape the sound like. And a K command here, like, yeah, some bends over here. I guess I feel like I'm trying to be kind of economical with the bass, so that there's like a little bit of space kind of before the kicks, and like something to differentiate the notes. There's the little fake lead again. I think most of this stuff is probably the same. So, yeah, this is exactly the same. This is probably almost exactly... Oh, wow, it is the same. It's literally the same. There's nothing different here. We need to clean this. Okay, well, that's good to know. And then there's this section, which kind of goes into a halftime feel. So, what did I do with this groove? Ooh, we kind of got a 54% swing groove. So, normally your halftime would be... This is 12 and 12, but I can do this, which is a 54% swing, which is a thing that you can't get if you're just doing this. Like, you can get 50 and 58, but you can't get 54 when you're only playing with 6 ticks. So now you're playing with power. It's not like super noticeable. It's just like enough of a little tiny shuffle. Taming the volume a little with an M command, because this section is a little bit lower energy, obviously. This stuff is kind of the same. Am I using the same lead? Ooh. So this is like, yeah, a simpler sound, and this, you know, the higher lead is like using more octave arps and stuff. And then this, like, this is just silly. Like, oh, I didn't reset the wave channel on the new groove. that wasn't really like, there was just nothing that happened in that bar, so I just added this weird little chromatic walk up, which like the whole song is kind of silly anyway, so like I feel like that fits the energy of this track anyway. And then this part ramps up, so. This is basically the same, and in fact, this pattern, this chain is also the same as this one. I think 1F, right? That was the one I was like, yeah, this is. I think it's exactly the same, so I don't even need a whole extra phrase in here. I don't know what this one is. 3640. This is probably the same too. 123A 363F. This looks exactly the same as that one, so I don't even think there's anything really different here. Watch O1. No, these are definitely different, but is 1D the same as OB? 7B0122. This is probably the same too. I mean, 18 is the same. So I wanted to talk about this in terms of like songwriting, because the actual like bones of the song came out of this stupid piano improv. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is probably gonna work. I said this. What? It's from like yeah, I guess at the end of 2017 or something. But I just want to play this because like it might be interesting to somebody who wants to know how to write. And most of my writing I do on Game Boy. But this is like one of those weird exceptions where I guess I felt like I could make it work, or maybe I was just experimenting. I'm not really sure, but like I won't play that much of it because the whole thing is like it's more than like 10 minutes of just like kind of mindless noodling, but that's mostly it. And then eventually I got to this kind of riff, wherever it is. So that's kind of like where the idea came from. And then it became this. Which it's like funny to me listening now how different it is from the original. Like so that's like, it took me a while to put these parts together, but you can kind of tell that like this is chain 2, this is 3 and 4. So like this was something that I wrote almost first. It looks like maybe this was the first noise. Like I don't know, that could have gotten like redone if I had cleaned phrases or something like that. So here's like more arps. Somehow I figured out what the groove, the tick math was to get these to last for 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. To like last 2 perfect bars and then go to the next one. And these only loop for 1 bar. And then I have these kind of random duty cycle changes happening. So what's this? This would be ARPS 3. ARPS 3. Is there anything happening on this table? Just some envelope shaping and some panning. Huh. Cool. Happening every guess every 8th note or something like that. This is basically the same thing as what was happening earlier. Sometimes when I want these to be like closer to the bass, I pitch down the kick drum. I don't know if that was deliberate here or if I was just messing around with different pitches. Hard to say. Most of the noise channel stuff's pretty much the same too. This is just some, more intense stuff. And then this was so much fun to make these chords because they feel so like harmonically rich. They're one thing I try to do is if I have like the root and the bass, I love that little bass riff, and like if I have so I have this kind of constant like this note in this channel, and I have this note or whatever note in this channel. I can leave those out of the ARPs. Like I don't need to duplicate those notes. So that leaves me like free to like play with harmonic extensions and stuff. And then it's just back to the beginning stuff. This is like a little more of an intense like open hat, like kind of riding the just more intense, more noise. Back to the front. That little walk up, I love that. And then here, so now we've got like this kind of halftime swung thing. Oh. Yeah, these don't line up. So this, I think, is this the same instrument that I used earlier? No, this is a different one, but I think it uses the same synth. So this is like horn 2 or something like that. This one, I deliberately wanted to do something like what is at the beginning of Super Mario Brothers 2. When it goes, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, like that song that is like the beginning of the very first level. Not like at the beginning of the game, but like the beginning of level 1. So this is pulse horn 2, maybe? Pulse horn 2? Fern. I don't know why, I just thought like, it would be cool to do that right in the middle of the song. Like, what if this whole song just stopped and it did this? And yeah, so that's what happens. And then this is a different bass sound. What's this one? We'll call this bass 2? 3? 3. All pass, rap. So we've got like rap just makes it more intense harmonically with some phasing stuff happening. So yeah, just a noisier sound. And then this stuff is mostly the same, probably. And then this is similar. Actually, I think this part is the same as the beginning of that piano improv. So like when I was like, what do I do now? Because I don't just want to like go back into, you know, this. Like, so I used like the beginning of that. We've got even a newer bass. Oh, this one looks like it's got some, yeah, it's got some intense vibrato on it. So we can call this one bass 4, I think. What I realized was that like, even when you are doing kind of the same thing in the other channels, like changing the bass makes a big difference. It's like, I used that in the following song too, on this EP called Fresh. It was like, I want to have the feeling of like, you know, opening a door into a different room, or like, you know, I would say changing worlds, but like I didn't change everything, all of the scenery and everything, but it's just like, oh, like the room is a different color now. Like, we kind of up the intensity because this is have like this heavy kind of like this bass has some, you know, girth. Ooh. Wow, what's that? It's got some kind of table on it. Yeah, it's got this gating effect with the E commands. That's cool. I don't know that I used it at all in here because like the note kills before that has a chance to loop, but still cool. Bass 4, we'll call this bass 5. 5. And then back to this original bass. Kind of back to this same feel. And then back to the swung part. There was an obvious reason to do this, which is to transition into the next song. So I didn't really have an ending to this. It just kind of goes into this like halftime swung feel. Including, I was just like, hey, let's slow down the arps too, because why not? It's kind of actually, now that I think about it, like an interesting way to like change stuff while keeping it the same, because all you have to do is throw in a groove command. Like the tempo. I didn't change the tempo at all. I just changed the groove. I have some triplets in here. Oh yeah, here. That's one thing about having this like triplet based groove. Everything is based on 3s, so you can re-trigger the notes and make triplets. And then just a half step up. And then I changed the tempo here because that's what happens in Fresh. is that it's at 190 and it's in this key, which happened to be a half step up from this one. So it was like a really natural transition. And then, yeah, it just went into the next song. So I guess that's probably about all I have to share, unless anybody has any questions. But yeah, hopefully this was informative. And maybe I'll do another save file stream again